Welcome to Worship in the Word. Today we're talking about budget stewardship. It's a part of our series on financial stewardship. The Bible says in Haggai 1 and 6, uh, do you have a bag with holes? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. Uh, some of us in uh, in our lifestyle feel like uh, there is a bag in our in our provisions, the money that we make. There's just not enough money to last out the month, and so we're deeply concerned. We just can't seem to get ahead, and the question is, do we have a budget, or have we ever considered doing a budget? And the, in business, there's a saying that uh, if a failure, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. So without a budget, without a plan of how we're going to spend our money, uh, the likelihood is that we're not going to be successful financially. Uh, Now, there are items to consider for your plan. First of all, uh, we we need to pray for direction and write out a plan. Um, it's not good enough to just have to discuss something that we're going to do. We need to put it in writing. We need a written document and something that we will be accountable to. So that's the first thing, praying for direction. And as we reach out to God, He will give us help in planning a budget. Second thing is um, we need to develop a budget that, first of all, includes giving of our resources to the work of God. If we honor God with our money, then He's going to honor His promises with us to help us and give us provision and be our provider. The Bible says that He is our Jehovah Jireh. That means um, He is our provider. The third thing is to learn contentment. Um, and one thing that we can learn is that we don't have to own something to enjoy it. Uh, Sometimes we believe that we have to possess things to enjoy them, but we don't. Uh, the fourth thing is to utilize frugal stewardship by scrutinizing your expenses. We have to delineate what is our needs uh, and what our wants are. Now, the Bible says that God will give us the desires of our heart, uh, but the desires of our heart have to be in tune with the will of God. Um, and sometimes uh, we get ourselves in trouble trying to seek uh, and focus on the things that we want, and we get into debt acquiring those things, and it's a vicious cycle. So, writing a business plan, a writing a budget is the way out of being in debt and the way to develop prosperity in our life. Um, we have a step-by-step budget plan. Number one is to track all spending for approximately 1 month, keeping a detailed log of all the spending And as we write everything down, we'll be shocked sometimes by uh, our spending. Sometimes we were very wasteful in our spending, and this budget plan, once we assess our lifestyle as it is, then we can work on mitigating the waste that's in our budget. We have a budget sometimes, and that budget is to spend everything that we've got on the things that we want, and then we end up short. That's what you might call a budget by default. And we need to have a plan. And so the second step is, after 1 month, categorize your spending into subgroups. For example, housing, food, entertainment, car, giving, and study. Do an analysis of each thing. How can we reduce our spending? How can we mitigate that? Because we want to convert some of this spending into saving, and this is the paradigm shift that we want. Number three, we evaluate the spending. We brainstorm on how more effective spending and to eliminate the wasteful spending habits. And this is where we get serious about really wanting to prosper. We need that budget in order to become more prosperous and to build wealth. Step 4, reassess your needs and not your wants. Write down your proposed budget plan: food, shelter, clothing, transportation, insurance, savings and investments, and discretionary things for entertainment. So we work on these areas, and we allow ourselves some perks along the way. And the goal is to make them frugal perks. Step number 5, in succeeding months, continue to reassess and refine your budget as needed. And there are ways you can compare your spending with the average household spending charts. You can Google average household spending for certain geographical areas and see if you have any disproportionate habits that you may have. And the bottom line is, the fail to plan is a plan to fail. An effective plan must be thought through and written down. Let God guide you through this continuing process. Psalms 19:14 says, "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer." Our prayer for this effort is, "Dear Lord, help me to eliminate waste and excessive spending. Help me develop a budget that gives glory to you as I learn to become a better steward of your provision in my life." God bless you, and thank you for listening to Worship in the Word today. If they pray, if they pray, if they pray.